Hi, here's the egg after 24 hours and we can observe some of the physical changes that have taken place. First, we can see that the size of the egg has increased and it has expanded in volume. Next, we can see that the shell of the egg is disintegrating. We can see this cloudy texture forming, and we can also observe this almost translucent membrane of the egg that is starting to appear. Now I will be rinsing out this vinegar and I will add some fresh vinegar into the egg and let it sit for 24 hours. Then I will make some more observations and then essentially analyze what is causing these physical changes. Hi, so here is the egg after the 48-hour period. I've taken it out of the vinegar and I gently rinsed it. We can see that there's no shell left on the egg. Right now, we can observe the dramatic increase in the egg size after the 48 hours. It has expanded into a much larger size than it was yesterday, and the color has also lightened. This change in the size of the egg took place because of osmosis. So, in osmosis, water moves from a region of high to low water potential down the concentration gradient through a semi-permeable membrane until equilibrium is reached. We can hypothesize that this membrane surrounding the egg acts like a semi-permeable membrane, so it lets certain small molecules such as water to cross the membrane, whereas other big molecules cannot cross the membrane. So, the egg expanded when placed in vinegar because vinegar is almost 95 to 96% water. Since it has a higher water content than the egg, the concentration gradient between the egg and its surroundings increased. Thus, water moved into the egg to reach equilibrium. As vinegar has a greater water content, this depicts hypotonic tonicity. Due to this hypotonic tonicity, water moved into the egg and increased the egg's volume, the size of the egg, and the turgor pressure inside the egg, thus justifying why the egg expanded when placed in vinegar and now why it looks turgid. So if I gently lift this egg up, I can almost feel the weight or the water inside the egg. So now I'm going to put this egg into maple syrup for another 24 hours and then observe what maple syrup does to the egg. Hi, so here is the egg after being in the maple syrup for 24 hours. Now I will be observing some physical changes that have taken place since yesterday. Yesterday we observed that the egg looked very turgid, whereas right now we can observe that the egg looks shriveled and flaccid and has lost its turgidity. We can observe the membrane is gathering together because it is not holding the same amount of water it was yesterday. The size and volume of the egg have also decreased. So if I lift this egg up, we can observe the change in the size. This change in the size and volume also occurred because of osmosis. Now I will let this egg sit in the maple syrup for another 24 hours, after which I will be further observing and analyzing as to how essentially osmosis is causing these physical changes. Hi, here is the egg after being submerged in maple syrup for 48 hours. We can observe the egg has further reduced in size as compared to yesterday. So if I lift this up, we can observe the reduced size and the volume, and we can also see that this membrane looks very wrinkled because of all the water that has moved out of this egg. When placed in maple syrup, which is almost 70% sugar and only about 30% water, the turgid egg lost its water content by osmosis. Since the egg was first placed in vinegar, it gained a lot of water from the vinegar and became turgid. When this egg was then placed in maple syrup, the water potential inside the egg was higher than the water potential in the maple syrup. depicting a high concentration gradient between the egg and the syrup. This means water moved from the egg into the syrup by osmosis to reach equilibrium. Since maple syrup is a concentrated sugar solution, it created a super hypertonic environment. In that hypertonic environment, the egg lost its water content, its size, volume, and turgor pressure decreased, which justifies why we can observe a shriveled egg when we place a turgid egg in the maple syrup. Now I will put this egg in water for another 24 hours, after which we can further observe and analyze the physical changes that take place. Hi, here is the egg after being in colored water for 24 hours. We can observe the increase in size of the egg. It has expanded in volume. I think the size is even larger than it was after I put it in the vinegar, because vinegar also has 5 to 6% acid. However, since this is pure water, it formed a super hypotonic environment, causing an increase in the concentration gradient. The reason why the egg expanded is because water moved into the shriveled egg through osmosis. Since the water potential inside the egg was lower as compared to the water potential in the glass, the water moved from the glass into the egg to reach equilibrium, increasing the size, volume, and turgor pressure inside the egg. So here we can see this enlarged egg. Thank you. Another interesting observation is that we can see this egg yolk almost floating inside the water through this membrane.